Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and welcome to the Nashville Stars franchise. The trade deadline is approaching here in the month of July, and a lot of teams are making a lot of moves. And I think MLB The Show has the trade slider for a reason. But I think that their trade logic is definitely flawed. Like this, Jeremy Pena getting traded after Carlos Correa left. I mean, Jeremy Pena is the future of their team. They should pretty much have like untradeable guys for each franchise, like Bobby Witt Jr. getting traded to the Mariners. This makes zero sense because the Royals got back Harry Ford, a catcher, 19 years old, B potential 72 overall. He's good, but they have Salvi ahead of him. It doesn't make any sense. This is a guy they are literally building their franchise around. Why would they trade for a guy that's younger at his position? And then, honestly, the Mariners have no reason to trade for Bobby Witt Jr. either. They have Marte coming up. They have J.P. Crawford already at shortstop. I mean, stuff like this, that MLB The Show trade logic is still kind of broken. So I decided to tune down the trade slider. It's down to 2. It's on default to 5. So I definitely decided to turn that down to hopefully deter some of these weird trades we see. The Yankees also traded Jason Dominguez, which you might see later in this episode, who is their top prospect. And you can see right here, Chad Pinder has a couple of teams interested, and we're now looking at our trade block: New York Yankees, the Sox, and the New York Mets. So being realistic in this series, I do want to go ahead and trade him to a team that actually wants him. I'm going to do that for veteran guys because it's harder for, contenders, at least to gauge contenders on who wants who. And I'm going to be realistic, go after the teams that, really want him. And I need to add some guys to the trade, maybe to sweeten it a little bit, because Chad Pinder is older and he is going to be a free agent. So I need to make the trade a little bit sweeter because he's not going to be a guy that's going to come in and immediately start. He's not like a 80-something overall player. He's a low 70s overall guy. So I want a prospect to make it sweeter, to bring back another prospect who we're looking at. So we have a couple of center fielders here and a lot of center field prospects that I am not really truly invested in. Jackie Nunez is one of them. He is 19 years old and C potential. I think he is a good prospect to include in a trade, so we will include him and just see who we get. The Yankees first offer Esteban Florio, who was once a top prospect in their organization, now has kind of fallen off of the ranks. And I looked at the top MLB pipeline top 30 prospects for them, and I don't even think he's in the top 30. I think if anything, he's in the bottom 5. Hitting .313 in Double-A, .385 on base percentage. He reminds me a lot of Tyrone Taylor, so I'm going to stay away from that trade. That was the best offer that they offered us. We move over to the White Sox, and they offer a pretty good prospect here in Matthew Thompson. Now, I'm not sure when he was drafted, but I'm pretty sure he was drafted in the recent memory here. And he is a guy that is B potential in A ball, and he looks really, really good. If I trade for him right now, he would probably be our top prospect as a pitcher, and I will do that. That was the best offer I got for those two prospects. They get a center fielder who's 19 years old, C potential. They also get a guy that can help them push towards the playoffs as well. And I think it's a good trade all around. We get it, Matthew Thompson. You can just see where he's slotted. He's our 6th rated, highest rated starting pitcher in our organization at this moment. Last episode, I definitely wanted to add to the depth of this team, and I think that's one thing that we're lacking in. So I decided to kind of target Hassan Kim. Now, he is on the trade block for the Padres, so I thought it made sense to just go after him. And I decided to use the trade suggestion to see, what exactly the Padres would want. And they want exactly who I want to trade, to be honest. Tyrone Taylor, Oscar Mercado. They want all 3 outfielders, to be honest. They even want Victor Robles in center. But I'm thinking, one of the corner outfielders have to go. And I think that, just looking at Oscar Mercado and Tyrone Taylor, I just think that Tyrone Taylor just doesn't fit with us. And yes, he has good attributes. He's a good fielder. His hitting zones are definitely a huge hurdle. So I am going to trade him. I don't think he's ever going to be a guy that's going to hit for high average, at least in MLB The Show. And I have to get rid of him. We bring back a depth shortstop who is signed for the next few years. I highlighted I wanted to go after a big bat, and Taylor Tremell, despite his hitting zones, still has power of 86, and he's getting better. He's 24 years old, so we're getting younger in the outfield. Tyrone Taylor was 28. We're getting 4 years younger with Taylor Tremell. I think the upside with his bat is too much to ignore. They have an influx of outfielders. Tremell is not even ranked in the top 30 anymore for prospects for the Mariners. And I decided to trade Jed Perez, another one of those guys that is highly rated in our organization, and he's still young. I think in order to get a guy that you really want, you have to trade a guy that possibly has a good future. 1.96 ERA, 1.08 whip in AAA. He is absolutely killing it. His trade value is at an all-time high. I'm okay with this because we drafted 2 starting pitchers with our first 2-round picks in the draft, so he will be coming, going shipped out over to Seattle, and Tremell will be in. So now after those trades, I definitely have to make some moves here, and I'm definitely deciding to shake it up a little bit at the MLB level with our roster. So Suzuki, who was a good prospect of ours at AAA, very, very, highly touted relief pitcher in AAA. He gets moved up to the MLB level. I'm going to slot him into the closing pitcher role and then move Phil Maton to the bullpen. And here's what our lineup will look like. Taylor Tremell will play right field. He has an accurate arm. It's not a huge arm, but he has an accurate arm. He has the sniper quirk, which is pretty much like a dead-eye accurate outfield arm. I guess that's an infield arm too. I guess it's just a defensive quirk. And then you can just see Josh Fuentes moves up in the lineup to number 5. Dominic Smith moves down to number 6 because he's not hitting the greatest right now. But Jorge Alfaro will remain at that leadoff spot. Victor Robles has actually the flame icon next to his name, meaning he's hitting pretty well right now. I decided to move Evan White into that DH spot for left-handed pitchers. I just want to see what I can get out of him for the rest of the year. And then Hassan Kim will play shortstop and move Miguel Rojas over to second base. He will mostly bat at the bottom of the lineup. He's not the greatest hitter, so I definitely want to kind of hide him in the lineup, but he's excellent defensively. And we are sitting here at 41-58 at the end of July. So now we go up against the New York Yankees. And I want to see Taylor Tremell in his debut. I want to see Hassan Kim in his debut. And we get to see Jake Woodford on the mound. He is actually not pitching well at all. I believe through 19 starts, he's got 5 quality starts. That is not good at all. So we will see what happens in Taylor Tremell's debut here at home in Nashville. He's got a big bat, so that's what I'm looking forward to. The first pitch he sees is right over the middle. We will take that one, and that will bring it to a 2-2 pitch. Takes one low, 3-2 count now. Man on first base, and that one will be a strike. Swing and miss, and that is going to be Michael King on the mound, striking him out as he comes to the plate for his second at-bat here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Now bases loaded with 1 out. He gets an inside slider. That one is way off of the mark. 3-2 pitch again over the middle, and he gets fooled a little bit on that circle changeup, and it will be his second strikeout of the game. Here is Hassan Kim at the plate. He's not the greatest of hitters. I definitely want to develop his bat a little bit more, and he strikes out on his first 2 at-bats as well. We move on to the bottom of the 7th inning. Now day has turned into night. Here is Taylor Tremell getting a hit to the left side. Will he beat this one out? Long throw to first, and that's how he will get aboard for the first time as a Nashville Star. A base hit to the left side. He's got decent speed. It's not slow. 65 speed. He's actually a bigger guy also. And good to see him get his first hit with the Music City Stars. That brings up Hassan Kim now, and this one will just be a flare out to right field, and Aaron Judge runs this one down. He's going to have an 0-for-4 day in his debut with the Stars. So let's check out Robert Suzuki, who we just moved up. He will get his first opportunity to pitch here at the MLB level. He is more of a submarine pitcher. I'm going to change that actually to a sidearm. He is a San Diego Studios generated guy in MLB The Show, and I like what he does. He's very, very good at forcing ground balls. Here he has a curve that time on a swing and miss. Now in a 2-2 pitch, will get a ground out to first base, and 2 outs for an opportunity for his first save of his career, facing Adam Frazier at the plate, who hits one hard to the right side. That one gets hit to right field, but Taylor Tremell falls, and look at Frazier trying to stretch this from a single to a double, and he will get thrown out at second. Taylor Tremell, like I highlighted earlier, has that sniper quirk, which allows him to have an extremely accurate arm. That's a great throw to second base to close out the game. We end up winning this one 3-2, and not a great debut from our hitters, but I like what Suzuki did, shutting the other team down. We come away from that game with terrible news, though. Miguel Rojas will be out with a dislocated shoulder for 2 to 3 months. I guess it's a good thing that we traded for Hassan Kim, but we traded for Chad Pinder. We traded away that depth there, and now we're out a shortstop and maybe just a second baseman since we have Hassan Kim at short now. But who will be the eventual guy who will replace him? I think it's going to be Tyson King. He's going to be another infielder that comes up, and he could play third, but I like him better at second base. He needs to be a better fielder to play at third, to be honest with you. He's hitting 287 at the AA level. I will eventually move him up to AAA, but for now I'm going to move up Michael Rock, a guy that's a deep potential 66 overall. Isn't the greatest of fielders, but he can hit pretty well. He's got excellent contact ratings. But now we check out Tyson King at the AAA level. We will move him up here to kind of prepare him for the MLB level. I'm going to let him hit in AAA for a couple to a few weeks, and then probably move him up to see what he has. He is our number 2 rated prospect that I have ranked right now, and we will see what he does in kind of his first action here at the AAA level. Here he is now hitting 405 at-bats, 2 for 5 so far. He strikes on that one, some high heat, swinging at one out of the zone. 0-2 pitch over the middle, right over the middle, and he just misses this one. It's a high fly ball to center field, and that one will make it 0 for 3 for Tyson King. I want to check on probably one of my favorite prospects, Kendrick Franklin Cole. He hits one well to left field. He is such a good hitter. He hits the ball solid every time. I can't wait to see him at the show. I don't think he's ready just yet, but that's his 14th double of the season. I wish they had an MVP at the minor league levels in this game at AAA and AA. I don't think they do, but I think that Kendrick Franklin Cole could possibly win it at the AAA level for our Norfolk team. As here comes Tyson King up. That was his first hit of his career right there. 1 for 4 now as he gets a pitch low in the dirt. 1-2 count. He goes to right field. That one will sneak through. Tyson King coming through with his bat. 1 run will score and 2 will score, stretching it to an 8-1 game here. And Tyson King, like I said, one of those guys that I am excited for moving up to the MLB. It should be soon. He's at 72 overall, which I think is good enough to be moved up. And I like his bat. He's got a lot of potential. Lead AA. Can't even talk. Led AA in home runs. And now he's moving up to AAA. We absolutely pummeled Durham. 8-3, 14 hits. Kendrick Franklin Cole, Isaac Plumbo, Justin Faith, and Tyson King all have 2 hits or more apiece. So looking at the MLB level here at the end of July, as we are about to pass the trade deadline at the end of the month, we go on our first win streak of this series. Playing against Tampa Bay, we actually swept them. They are 54-50. And look at Nashville, we are 47-58, actually winning games now. How about Victor Robles? 2 for 4 in this game in a 10-7 victory, 3 runs scored. And it looks like in sim situations, I don't like how the CPU does this, but they changed the lineup up. But Victor Robles at the top of the lineup is hitting well. In a 4-2 victory, he goes 2 for 4. That averages up to 269. And then in an 8-7 victory, we get 10 hits, and Robles goes 4 for 6. That average has now leaped up to our best average on the team, surpassing Jorge Alfaro. So that is a good sign going forward for Victor Robles. He was a guy that was a defensive center fielder. Now the bat seems to be coming along. Dominic Smith hitting 222. I want to just review the stats so far through the first 4 months of the season. How many months is that for? From April to July, 3 or 4. Jesus Aguilar hitting 242. Now, he is eligible for a contract extension. Now, one thing I do want to keep in mind is that the Nashville Stars organization wants to keep the player salaries down because they want to use a lot of money to build up their entertainment district. So they want the player salaries to be under $50 million. Right now we're at about 80. So we will definitely need to cut that down going into free agency. So even though he is a candidate to get re-signed, he is demanding about $6 million for 1 year. So we will have to see how that goes for Jesus Aguilar. Miguel Rojas is only hitting .229, so slipping a little bit, but he's on the injured list the next 3 months. But how about Victor Robles? I plan on player locking him next episode because I want to see it for myself. Hitting a career high for a full season here at .277. He hit .255 back in 2019, has not got back up to that mark, but definitely up there now on a hot streak as well. I'm definitely thinking about moving him up now to that leadoff spot and maybe moving Jorge Alfaro down to number 2 as Miguel Rojas recovers from his injury. Josh Fuentes is a guy that's kind of a low salary, so I plan on keeping him around as he is kind of a bargain. He's hitting .238, which is obviously below average, but I think he's a good fielding third baseman. Alfaro hitting .264, but Oscar Mercado is a cheap contract. I do still want to hold on to him because I do think he's still got some potential with his bat. At age 27, he's not old or anything. He's got good speed. He's got good fielding attributes. Even though he's struggling, I think that he's still got time to turn it around. But, you know, when push comes to shove, he will be in a competition with some of our prospects in the outfield at the MLB level. Jacob Nottingham is only hitting .230. He's just a backup catcher at this point till Jorge Alfaro does catch when Alfaro goes to left field. Eric Sogard is 35 years old. I'm definitely not interested in bringing him back. He's owed $3 million this year, and I definitely don't want to re-sign him to another contract. I think he's just a depth guy. Hassan Kim is going to probably be the highest paid guy on our team, to be honest with you, for the next couple of years, especially if we need to stay below $50 million with player contracts. He's owed $7 million for the next 3 years. Eli White is another guy who is injured, but he is pretty cheap, $700,000. That renewable contract is going to be around that, and he's a speed guy. I use him to basically just pinch run and just fill in when guys need a break. Evan White is a guy that is signed to a kind of an expensive deal for what he brings to the table. He's more of a bench first baseman. He could be a guy that could be looking to move on from to free up some money. And then Taylor Tremell is cheap right now. He's only hitting .222, but only 18 at-bats with us. And then Nick Williams is also up there as well, but he's just another one of those depth guys. Now, pitching looks a little bit different. We're not spending a ton of money on our pitching right now, but obviously, you know, some of these guys will demand bigger contracts when their time comes up. But Eliezer Hernandez is actually doing the best out of everybody. 1.27 whip, 11 quality starts, only a .6 WAR. But I still like his potential at age 26, along with Chris Paddock. Both of these guys will probably be the top 2 starters in our rotation for at least the next 2 years, at least until we develop somebody else or bring in a cheaper free agent. Like I said, we have $50 million to spend every year, so we definitely need to stay below that. Brett Anderson is a veteran, and he is owed 2.8. I'm going to try to offload him in the offseason, more than likely, try to free up this contract. Maybe a team will take him on for a prospect or a guy that's a lot cheaper at a different position maybe. Jake Woodford has been pretty disappointing. I think he is the worst pitcher on our pitching staff right now. 21 starts, 7 quality starts. A 1.36 whip, though, which is interesting because it's not terrible. I mean, it's below average, but it's not like absolutely terrible. But only 7 quality starts. He's got the same WAR as Eliezer Hernandez, which is interesting at .6. So a guy that you want to look out for is Woodford and Badia moving on, because Badia may be even worse. 1.46 whip. Yeah, Badia is worse here. 4.46 ERA, 57 strikeouts to 42 walks. He is walking way too many people, and only 6 quality starts in 21 total starts. So definitely, you know, those 2 guys, actually those 3 guys, Brett Anderson, Jake Woodford, and Jamie Badia, probably not going to be with us next year, because this was more of an evaluation year, to be honest with you. Unless one of those 3 really turns it around, I would say Anderson, because of his age, is probably going to be gone, but Badia and Woodford definitely have to turn it around quickly. Looking at our bullpen now, Joel Payamps has a 1.32 whip out of 43 games. He's appeared in a lot of games, so I don't want to hold that against him. But Yasmiro Petit is actually pitching extremely well. 117 whip at age 37. But the most impressive guy in our bullpen has been Cody Stashik, and he is due an arbitration contract coming in the offseason. 0.84 whip. He is pitching great. Walks per 9, 1.78. That is crazy low, which is very, very good. His fielding independent pitching is a little high at 4.33, but that's okay because if he's not walking a ton of guys and his whip is that low, I mean, that's excellent. That's a guy that you want to build in the bullpen around. And looking at his contract, only $700,000. He's due for arbitration year, so I'm guessing that will be like at about $1 million or so. Luke Jackson is next. His contract will clear off the books next year. He's 30 years old, 156 whip. Definitely not interested in bringing him back. Phil Maton, I think, has a pretty good contract at $1.4 million. Because we need good bullpen arms at a bargain, I think I'm going to keep him around 136 whip, which is about his career average, a little bit lower. But his ERA is actually the lowest that it's ever been, which is awesome. His strikeouts per 9 is very, very high. He does walk at a okay clip here. His fielding independent pitching is where his calling card was, and you know, he's a strikeout pitcher, so you would expect that. And then Jose Ruiz is a cheaper contract as well. I definitely want to get him more innings. I'm going to figure out a way to switch maybe him and Luke Jackson around, because I would want Jose Ruiz to have 32 innings pitched and have Luke Jackson not pitch as much in his spot. So we are sitting here at, you know, about 11 games under 500. We're actually not doing too bad. You would think we would be, since we're a new expansion team, but we're actually winning games, surprisingly. And after that trade, those 3 trades that we made, we actually went on this win streak. Didn't really affect us too much. Taylor Tremell came in, but he hasn't had a huge impact. So it's very, very interesting that we started winning games all of a sudden. And then looking at the other teams around the MLB, we're at about the 9th worst record in the MLB, 8th or 9th. I mean, we're not even close to being, you know, one of those bottom 5 teams. And to be honest, we're doing quite well at this point of the season. In next episode, I will kind of go over, you know, some future contract extensions, getting some players off the books, things like that. And we will kind of maybe even wrap up the season. We'll get to at least a point where we're close to the end and get through, you know, August and September, almost September. So we'll have to see. Hit subscribe, hit that like button. I appreciate you guys rocking out with me. Let me know what you guys think of those trades. And hit subscribe, hit that like button. Stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.
I hope the rain don't come and over.